Today I'm talking with Yogi Amandeep Singh. He is a healer and teacher of Eastern spirituality and a regular speaker on international stages and television, with topics such as healing, non-duality, mysticism, Zen, mindfulness and yoga. He is a master and scholar of Kundalini practices and holds retreats and classes all over the world, from Vancouver to India. I am delighted to welcome Yogi Amandeep Singh to Shaman's Shed.
Okay, beautiful. So my journey, the journey is everybody's journey. Usually I like to put in this way that, with the beginning of the Big Bang, right, our journey started from the beingness, one unity. We became multiple. And so my journey started, like many, many years ago. I met many beautiful teachers in the Himalayan tradition. And so as far as Advaita Vedanta is concerned, I've been studying that for the last maybe 20 years or so. And I had the privilege to study with one of the main masters in the Himalayan tradition, Sriman Swami Gyandev Singh Ji, who is the direct lineage holder of a tradition that is more than 500 years old. So that's in short.
Incredible. And the work you're doing at the moment, I've seen some of your work. You sort of place a lot of importance on breath work, pranayama, and posture, the kriyas.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that. And
Yes. So before the flower of Advaita, the non-dual, blooms in us, there are many things which we need to drop. And there are many things which we need to know before we can drop them, before we enter into the process of neti. So the breath work, the teachings of the Tantra. So when I say Tantra, Tantra means the teachings of the body and the mind. So collectively we call it Tantra. And if you go into deeper, then you have mantra, which is the teachings of the mind, to the exploration of the body and the exploration of the mind. And that is done through tantra and mantra. And once you have known yourself, what you are at the superficial level, then you can drop yourself, and the flower of Vedanta, or the flower of Advaita Vedanta, can bloom in you. So when I share my teachings, I start with a lot of breath exercises, and I use a lot of postures and kriyas. That is just to to break all the hindrance that we have created due to the way we sit, due to the way we think. So the conditioning that have happened in time and space can only be broken through the teachings of time and space, which is tantra and mantra. Before the timeless teachings, the spaceless teachings.
familiar with the teachings, begin to understand the nature, the play of form in terms of, the material world, being a play of form and being essentially an illusion.
Yes, usually I think the best answer I can give for this will be, while you're an illusion, be an illusion completely. Embrace it in its totality. Most of the time, the students of Advaita Vedanta, before they know the illusion, they want to drop the illusion. So they don't know what they're dropping.
Yeah.
So usually I encourage people to be in the body completely before you know you're not the body. Be in the mind completely before you know you're not the mind. So how to do that? And that comes through Tantra and Mantra. And when you combine those together, then the Yantra means a machine, a time machine. Yantra actually means time machine. And through Yantra, you can easily bloom into your true nature, the nature which you are in your pure essence.
Yeah. And in terms of sort of prakti and the five sheaths or kosas, how does one work their way through them in meditation, and because I've become familiar with these
Beautiful.
things over
Yes.
a period, but it's still, there's a difference, I guess, between having an intellectual understanding and
Beautiful.
actually grokking it and understanding it and being able to dissolve those and negate them.
Sure. These are the 5 layers,
Yeah,
to the self before the self reveals itself. So we have to pass through these, and the first layer, the Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical or the body food, the food layer. This is dropped through, right food. That's the first one.
yeah,
Your
yeah,
diet play a very important role in your spiritual evolution.
yeah,
So first of all, diet, vegetarian or vegan diet, we start with that. And then after that, you go into, the physical postures.
yeah,
Okay. So we are stuck in the physical layer. Most of us, we are stuck in the physical layer. We do not know any dimension beyond the physical dimension. We have not
yeah,
touched the subtleness of our existence. So in order to go into the subtleness of our existence, we start with the Annamaya Kosha. That comes, as I mentioned, through the right food. Then we go into kriyas or postures.
yeah,
So moving the body into postures that you have never been, because
yeah,
we are sitting in a certain way, we are stuck in certain time and certain space. So postures, exercises, kriyas, even as simple as cycling. So engaging the body in any way you can, okay, that is how you transcend the Annamaya Kosha. Okay, so transcending the body through exercises, through asanas, through kriyas. And
yeah.
then the next layer, Manomaya Kosha, that is transcended through sacred sounds.
Okay.
Sacred sounds, we call the mantras.
Yeah,
Okay, and chanting those mantras again and again will help you to transcend or come to direct perceiving of the what the mind is. Ordinarily, we confuse our thoughts to be our mind. Thoughts
yes,
are content of the mind. Mind
yeah,
is the container which contains the thoughts. And then if you go, so what we do is at the blink of the eye, there are 1,000 thoughts from the yogic perspective. And we are constantly being pushed and pulled by these thoughts. When you are here, you want to be there. And if you go there, you want to be here. So this is the definition of you at the level of the mind. So we don't know what the mind is. The thoughts are pushing and pulling us. So through a sacred sound, a certain mantra, we quieten all these thoughts, and only one thought or one vibration or one frequency is experienced. And through that, we merge into that, and that is called Sankalpa Samadhi. When you forget all your identities and you only identify yourself with the sound current,
yeah,
with a frequency. And the source of the cosmos at the level of the physical world is frequency, is the sacred sound or the sound. Okay, vibration created the world, the Big Bang and whatever theory.
yeah,
So you know yourself in a very deep layer, the mind. And once you have done the mantras, you have experienced the Sankalpa Samadhi, which is holding on to one thought instead of being pushed and pulled by the innumerable thoughts. Okay,
yeah,
so that's how you transcend the Manomaya Kosha. Then comes Pranamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha is transcended through breath exercises,
yeah,
holding the breath and experiencing the breath. Where the breath starts and where the breath ends is a very important part of transcending the pranamaya kosha. From the yogic perspective, breath starts around 10 fingers away from you. So 10 fingers, 4, 8, 10, around here. So breath starts here.
yeah,
Okay, breath doesn't start from here from the yogic perspective. So as the breath goes out and as the breath is leaving you, okay, and at the level around 10 fingers, the breath stops and it changes its gear. Okay, and then it becomes the incoming breath.
yeah,
And when the breath goes in, and right inside you, there is also a point where the incoming breath stops and changes its gear and becomes the outgoing breath. Now, at these 2 points, you are neither inhaling, you are neither exhaling. So the coming breath is life and the going breath is death. So at this moment, you are touching your true nature, which is beyond birth and death. So this is pranayam. Pranayam means to become aware of that point, okay, where you transcend both the life and the death.
Yeah. Is that
Okay.
in the Kumbhaka? Is that when you are in retention, or is that slightly different?
Yeah, so that kumbhaka is more of you getting involved. That is the good start. But
Yeah.
what I'm referring to is the natural in between point where neither you are in the realm of life, neither you in the realm of death. Watching the breath and experiencing that which is happening spontaneously without you being involved. So Kumbhaka is a starting point. But
Okay.
there you are the doer, you are involved. What I'm talking is becoming aware of the breath, the coming and the going, and becoming so aware the subtleness of the breath, where exactly it starts and where it ends. That point is also nirsankalpa samadhi. Okay, so through the sound you attain the nirsankalpa samadhi. Okay, and then through the breath you attain the nirsankalpa samadhi. This is through the Pranamaya Kosha. Now, Vajnanamaya Kosha is transcended through your clarified mind. What is clarified mind? Clarified mind is when you can direct your thoughts. Ordinarily, our thoughts are directing us. So when you have gone through these 3 process, by then your manas, your mana have become clarified, you are able to direct it, giving direction. So this is when awareness is awakened. Before it is all attention.
Yeah.
And because there's attention, there's a certain tension. Okay. So this is called the process of sadhana. Sadhana. Okay. And now in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, you enter Aradhana. Aradhana means now you are spontaneously, you can direct your thoughts. In the first 3 layers, there's an effort. In the Vijnanamaya Kosha, your mind have become so clarified that you can direct it. And how to do that? That is through visualization. It is called dhyana, where you are able to direct, or dharana you want to call it, dharana and dhyana, where you are able to direct your thoughts. If you want your thoughts to be in the third eye, your awareness comes to the third eye. If you want your awareness to be in the heart center, it comes into the heart center. And if you want your awareness to be 10 fingers above your head, there's another vortex point there from the tantric perspective, 10 fingers above the head, where the unknown becomes known, where the unmanifested is manifested. That point from the tantric perspective is connected with the North Star, the only body, according to the yogic teachings, which is not moving, and everything else is moving around it. So that's anchoring point of the universe corresponds to the 10 fingers above your head. And that is the spiritual crown, or the turban that you wear is representation of that. Okay, so coming back to Vijnanamaya Kosha, you are able to direct your awareness. And then when you are able to direct your awareness, automatically Ananda, the Anandamaya Kosha, is experienced. So this is how you transcend the 5 layers, and then you come face to face with yourself, or you can say you are able to drop your superficial self, and you experience what you are in your totality. And what are you in totality as described in the ancient writings is that you are one with all. You're one with the stars, you're one with the oceans, you are one with the flowers. Every blooming of the flower is your blooming. Every opening of the bud is your opening of the bud, and every drop of rain is actually you are showering the grace upon the cosmos. So that is the experience of unity of being. The Sufis, they call these Wahadat al-Wajud, the unity of being. There's no other, there's no two, there's one. In the yogic teachings, we call these Ek Omkar, one universal consciousness. So there's no other in that space. So this is the process of the five koshas.
Thank you very much. That was, very, very. You've taken it to another level for me. I had one level of understanding from my own readings, but obviously after speaking to you, you've changed a few of the. So you've taken it to a new level. So thank you for that. The other issue I wanted to talk about was the Jiva, or the soul, which is it experiences 4 states of being awake, dreaming, deep sleep, and turiya, pure consciousness. Is the goal to sort of bring all those together so that you experience those, bring awareness to all 4 at the same time, or how does a yogi tackle that? How does it look at those 4 states?
So the 4 states, the awakened, the dream, and the deep sleep. Okay, let's discuss these 3 first. Okay, so we start with the story. It's a very ancient story. You may have heard about it. It's the story of this great king, Maharaja Janaka, who was sitting on his throne one day, and he just napped, and he had a dream, and in that dream he was a beggar begging for food, and suddenly he woke up and he realized that he was sitting on the throne. Now the dream state was real in the dream state. Okay, in comparison to the awakened state, it was the dream state. In comparison to the dream state, the awakened state is the dream state. Right? So he was confused now, which really is the dream state and which is the awakened state. Am I a beggar having the dream of the king, or am I the king who is having the dream of the beggar? Okay? Because from the dream state, the awakened state is the dream state. And from the awakened state, the dream state is the dream state. Right? So he called many wise men, and long story cut short, and a sage came, Ashtavakra, and he told him, because his question was, what is true? Okay, is the awakened state real, or is the dream state real? So Ashtavakra said, neither the awakened state is real, and neither the dream state is real. The one who saw both is real. That is Turiya. Turiya is that which is always present. So Turiya is that. So awakened state is changing. There's something in you which never changes. And this is not to be realized. It is happening. It is happening. At this moment, you are looking at me, I'm looking, and everything is changing. But there's something which remains constant. And then when we go to the dream state, again, my dream state is changing. Okay. And something remains constant. And then we go to deep sleep, where there is no content. In the awakened state, there is content and there is awareness. In the dream state, there is content and there is awareness. In deep sleep, there is no content, only pure awareness. And that's why in deep sleep, we don't know. Why? Because the content is not there. The awareness needs the content before mind can be born. So consciousness goes out and touches matter, and what comes back is called mind. So mind is actually not inside. In deeper in understanding, mind is not inside. Inside is only consciousness. So consciousness, through the windows of the 5 senses, projects out, and the matter bounces onto the matter. What comes back is called the mind. Now my consciousness is going out and it is bouncing on this thing called laptop. And then the answer comes laptop, right? So similarly, in the dream state also, the mind creates the content and it projects and comes back is the mind. In the deep sleep, there is no content. So there's nothing onto which the consciousness can project itself.
Yeah.
So then we don't know what is happening in deep sleep, but we know we had a good sleep. So these which remains constant in the three dimensions is called Turiya. Another way to put this is Turiya is constant, and inside Turiya, okay, awakened state manifests and goes away. Dream state manifests and goes away. Deep sleep manifests and goes away. It remains constant. That which was there in the beginning, that which is now, and that which shall be when this content is not there is called the Turiya. In the Yogic Sutra, there's a beautiful quotation: Ad Sach Jugad Sach Habhi Sach Nanak Hosi Be Sach. That which is there before your world is born.
Okay.
So when you wake up in the morning, you give birth to creation.
Yeah.
And at night, dissolving of the creation. So with your mind coming into existence, creation is born, and when your mind changes dimension, the creation is changes. So you are manifesting multiple dimensions. You are the source of multi-universe. Now you and me, we are sitting in a different universe, and after our this discussion, you will be in a different universe, I will be in a different universe, and this universe is constantly changing with every blink of the eye. With every blink of the eye, the universe, the world is changing.
Yeah.
Every time we blink, whenever we blink, the scenery changes, but it's happening so fast because mind is not, mind cannot exist in seamless. Only consciousness is seamless. Now mind coming in segments, that's why we blink. The blinking connects the two segments, and it seems that everything is seamless, but everything is not seamless. Mind is that which jumps,
Yeah.
which shifts like this,
Yeah.
it's shifting all the time, but it looks like nothing has changed. Why? Because the blinking happens, and when the blinking happens, the mind sews one scene with the other scene, and that sewing is happening again with the breath. The breath goes in, so all this is connected. The breath goes in and sews this reality into our experience, and the next, again the breath goes out, and the blinking happens, and for a moment the veil is there. The veil is there. Who is creating the veil? We ourselves are creating the veil. In the words of Rumi, he said, between me and consciousness, or me and totality, I am the veil. So you are the veil. Your very being in this time and space is the veil to your timeless and spaceless existence. And the beat of the heart also, my friend. Each time the heart beats, the eye blinks, the breath moves, all these together is sewing these segments of falls of permanent existence called Maya into reality, and we think this is real.
Yeah.
So our very being, okay, our very superficial being is the reason why we are not able to experience our universal being. These veil creates a segment between you and me. My blinking is creating the segment between you and me so that we can experience the oneness in us. And that oneness in us is called the consciousness, is called the awareness, is called the Atman, is called the Brahman, whatever you want to call that, or in simple language, the self.
Yeah.
So
And
that is the four states.
in just talking about Turiya, the state of Turiya, you said there that when in deep sleep there is no content, so there's a almost like a unity, or
Yes.
a oneness, I suppose, in that sense, because there's no
Yes.
second thing to be aware of.
Yes.
What's the difference between that and the oneness of Brahman? Are they similar, or is it something is it different?
Okay. So Let me bring a bit of Tantra insight, okay?
Yeah.
Tantric perspective. So when you are in the awakened state, mind dwells in the eyes, or your superficial self, or you as an identity, as an entity, limited in time and space, that governs from the realm of the eyes in the awakened state. In the dream state, mind drops to the throat center. That is the dream state. Okay? And then in the deep sleep, the mind falls further down into the heart center. That is the deep sleep. And the experience of deep sleep, as we have discussed, there is no other. There's no content. There is a unity. And this is called falling in love. You're falling. Every day you fall in love. Love means no other. The sense of the other is dropped.
Yeah.
And this word is beautiful, falling in love.
Yeah.
Falling. But nobody knows what is this falling. Where is this falling happening? Every day you have an opportunity, however miserable you are, to love totality, to love your true being, which is the Ananda, the Sat Chit Ananda, from which love is one. So you are falling down every day from the realm of the awakened state into a dream state, and ultimately into the heart center, which is the deep sleep state. Okay. And then further, when you go to deep sleep, now the only difference between the Turiya and deep sleep is your consciousness, okay, is there, but the knowing aspect of the consciousness is not there. The knowing aspect of the consciousness is not there. In Turiya, the knowing aspect have fully bloomed. So the three state, the consciousness, Sat, Chit, and Anand. Beingness, knowingness, and blissfulness. Okay? So we experience beingness in the awakened state. Everything is being. I'm being, you are being, I can see everything is there. It has a being is there. It is existing. So that is experienced in the awakened state. And then in the dream state also, there is beingness. Something is there, tangible, as far as the dream state is concerned. For the dream state, whatever is there, it's tangible. Everything is tangible. When you fall in the dream state, you hurt yourself and you suffer that. So it's tangible. So the beingness is there. And the knowingness is also there in the two states. In the deep sleep, there is no beingness, okay, and there is no knowingness. In the Turiya, there is beingness, there is knowingness, and then the third thing comes, which is bliss, Ananda, is there, which is missing in the awakened state. Although the knowing and being is there in the dream state, the knowing and being is there. In the deep sleep, there is no knowingness, there is no knowingness, only beingness is there.
Yeah.
But in the Turiya, all the three qualities, Sat, Chit, and Ananda, is there. So that is Turiya. That is the difference. So you are being and you are knowing. Yeah. And then because you are knowing and you are being, then the bliss or Ananda is experienced, and that is awakening. Ordinarily, we are touching the closest part of it, which is the falling in love, going into deep sleep.
Yeah.
So Turiya, if you want to put it in the realm of the Tantra, Okay, so awakened state is the eyes, dream state is the throat center, the deep sleep is the heart center, and then you have turiya, which is the navel center. The navel center. In the mother's womb, journey started with the navel. So exactly that point, the turiya is experienced. In the mother's womb, all the other doors, we have 9 doors in the body. Okay, so the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, these mouth, 2 ears, 7, and 2 lower doors, total 9 doors. So in the mother's womb, the 9 doors were locked, and the 10th door, which is navel, was opened. So everything was received through the navel, and that is the turiya. That's how that which is Sat Chit Ananda comes into the realm of deep sleep. In the mother's womb, the first thing you experience is deep sleep. Then you go into dreaming. A child in the mother's womb dreams. And then finally you come into the awakened state. So you came from turiya into deep sleep. Even as far as the physical existence is concerned, is born out of turiya. So turiya is that within which you and me are existing as a whole. Before we came into the world of a dream, and then from the dream came the the awakened state. Another thing very important to mention here is that ordinarily we think we have the body, and within the body is mind, and within the mind is consciousness. Now this is wrong. The Vedantic teachings, Advaita Vedanta says you have consciousness. Within consciousness is mind, and within mind is body. So we are within mind, this body is within mind, and the mind is within consciousness, within awareness. So it's the other way around.
Yeah. They're imposed, I guess, superimposed upon it.
Yes.
Yeah. The other question I wanted to ask you was one which often comes up. I talk about with other people on the channel, and is often disagreed with, not agreed on. And this is the issue of the ego, or Ahamkara. In both sort of Hinduism and Buddhism, it's described as an illusory part of the self, which needs to be realized and seen as not real. Is ego consciousness, as some people call it, would you say that is the central villain in the problems that people have on a daily basis, and also in the world at the moment, that state of being?
Yes. So what exactly is ego, or Ahamkara, or Ahamkara it is called, the exact word. So the first layer is the buddhi. Buddhi is a moment to moment thoughts. Okay, so we are going to discuss how the ego is born, how the ego comes into existence, the superficial I, that's the best translation for that.
Yeah.
So first you have moment to moment thoughts. Now what you are experiencing, what I'm experiencing, is called the buddhi. And then some thoughts impact us and we hold on to them. That becomes chitta. Okay, so buddhi, moment to moment thoughts, and those thoughts which affect us, which we want to save, they go on to the next layer of our beingness, our superficial being. It's called the chitta. Okay, then chitta, when you have those imprints in you for long time, they are imposed on you, that ideas, that concepts, that creates the ahamkara. So ahamkara, ego, is based on your thoughts. And what are thoughts? Moment to moment movement of the mind, which is not constant, which doesn't have an existence, but looks like they are the only thing which is existing. but they have no existence. Nobody has ever found thought. Because we have not found thought, we cannot find ego. You cannot find ego. Because buddhi gives birth to chitta, chitta gives birth to ahamkara, your superficial I. So ego, from the yogic perspective, or ahamkara, the exact word, ahamkara, is moment to moment thoughts. It is born now. Your ego is taking birth now. It is not something engraved in you. It is not something which is ruling you. It is not something which is directing you. Your moment to moment thoughts is giving birth to ego every second or every blink of the eye. The ego is taking birth. Now, these three together, okay, is called the fourth, which is called the mana, the mind. Now, this is what mind is. So, ego is not within the mind. So mind is not within the ego. Okay, mind is not within the ego. The mana is not within the ego. The ego is within the mind.
Yeah.
So buddhi, chitta, ahankara, and mana, the fourth layer. So mana is much more than mind. In English, we translated mind, but mind has very limited definition. The exact word for mind, or is mana. And mana, man, that's where human came into existence. Who means existence. Who means existence. And mana means mind. Human means that which exists because of the mind. And the word who comes in the Quran, also in the sacred Quran in Islam. And that's the first time we come to the word who. Who wal bagi. Only existence is. So who means existence, mana means mind, mind means ego, ego means concentrated mind, and concentrated mind means thoughts. So this is the evolution. And just to dive a bit more into this. So when we take the word for ego in Sanskrit is called Ahamkara. Ahamkara. Now, when you take the first breath, when you came from Turiya into a deep sleep, and then into dream, and then you came into the awakened state, and you took the womb, the birth from mother's womb. When you came out, the first breath, the sound of the first breath is ah. And you have awakened yourself in the realm of time and space, in the realm of nama and rupa, name and form. So that is the first breath. And when you die, the last breath, the sound of the last breath is. So the first breath is ah, and the last breath is ha, and then comes aha, aham, The sound of is an expression of beingness. Ordinarily, if somebody is talking to us and we don't want to involve sound, we don't want to involve a language, we use one universal sound, and that's
Yeah.
When you are angry, you use the word
Yeah.
When you are happy,
Yeah.
This is the most common ordinary gesture which is beyond your intellectual mind. It's an inborn way of communicating. Even animals, they have this sound. So means beingness. Now, aha means that beingness which was born with the first breath and shall die with the last breath is called aha. Okay, aha. And Kara means I am the doer. When the doership comes, we are a wave in the ocean. Ocean overall is in charge of the movement of the wave, but the wave for a few moments thinks I'm in charge and I can move the way I want to move. Although it is due to the movement of the ocean that I am moving, but I come into an illusion that I am moving up and I am moving down. That process is called kara. So Ahamkara, Ahamkara, which is born with you in your first breath and which shall die with you in your last breath, and you carry these on your shoulders all the life. And that is called Ahamkara, which is the source of your memories, vashanas, your samskaras, your muscle memory, your biomemory, and because of these, you feel heaviness of life. So ahamkara means the weight of life. That's what ahamkara means. So this is the journey of ahamkara. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really, very informative, and that's helped me a lot in my understanding. And I think there's two things that have come to mind out of that. I mean, the first is thinking about ahamkara and ego, is wanting to understand if it also is the element that creates the self-image. If the image is constructed in form, if it's is it responsible for that illusory self-image?
So whatever I have talked about is what Jiva is. So the answer to your question is the same answer which I've been giving for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is Jiva.
Yeah.
And this is the source of all that you are.
Yeah.
And Jiva don't recognize its temporariness, right?
Yeah.
And doesn't dissolve into the ocean. Even when this Ahamkara or Jiva dies, it never dies. It comes back again. And that is called the reincarnation of the Jiva, or reincarnation of the superficial self. But me, as the pure self, is never born, will never die. But me, as the conditioned self, the Jiva, which is the composed of the four things that I've talked about collectively, because of that, it is coming back again and again, and that is the reincarnation of the limited self.
Yeah. I think that's why I really wanted to hammer that point with you, because I think a lot of people I discuss it with would go down, they don't like the idea that, you know, some people think the ego is necessary for, you know, certain elements of life, and my perspective on that is, to some extent, that is true if you are continuing to play in illusion and play in form. If you're doing that, then yes, but if you're making that realization, then the ego is something that is illusory, and that's why I wanted you to clarify that, and I really appreciate you doing that for me.
Thank you.
When doing the pranayama practice of you know, the Omkara, and you're inhaling to the sound of ah, and then on the holding of the breath in the, you know, to the oo sound, and then the exhalation of the I just wanted to know what the correct pronunciation when doing that mantra was for each part, for each.
Yeah. So a u a u So a is, you know, the way I usually put this is when you're born, right? So contains your entire story. Okay, because it contains your entire story, it can be meditated upon your source of the story, which is your breath. Okay, so is your story as far as the sacred sound is concerned, and the breath is also your story as far as the prana or the pranamaya kosha is concerned. Now, when you are born, everybody around you is in an You also in a And then you come to the middle of the life, everything is ooh, you know. Your teenager's life, your working life, and you being a householder, everything is ooh, ooh, ooh. And then finally, when you leave this world, the last sound, So contains your entire existence. Your story is written in the sacred three sounds is the creator, U is the preserver, and is the destroyer, which is G-O-D. G for generating power, O for organizing power, and D for the destructive power. So this is the best sound for what we call totality, what we call God, or what we call the cosmos. Now, because it contains our entire story, and that story is embedded in the coming and the going of the breath, we synchronize our individual prana with this cosmic sound of the creation. So as the breath goes in, mentally, you create the sound of and then you hold, you meditate on U, and then as you exhale, you meditate on So this is one of the many pranayams. There are 8.4 million pranayams.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the tradition that I am in, we also use other sounds. For example, when the sound is inhaled, we meditate on Va. Va means ecstasy. Wow. And then when we hold the breath, we contemplate on He. He means existence. And then when we exhale, the sound current is Guru, which means beingness, which means knowledge, which means wisdom. So Va, He, Guru. Va is also translated as ecstasy, as Ananda. And He is the Sat, and Guru is the Chitta. So Sat Chit Ananda, that is another mantra that you can actually do to hold and synchronize yourself with the breath. So there are many mantras, there are many forms of breath exercises. Whatever fits you, you do it. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And based on that, as a yogi, could you just tell us a little bit about your daily routine in terms of meditation and then diet? How frequency, how often, and things?
Yes. So I used to travel a lot, and because of this lockdown, for the last few months, I'm home. I'm actually now supposed to be in Japan, according to my calendar. And the year end, I should be in India, meditating in the Himalayas. So every year we do these retreats in India where students from all over the world, we sit in the original caves, in the original monasteries, 4,000, 3,000 years old. And we do these very beautiful ancient practices like dark retreats and fasting and and much more. We even do this meditation where we it's called the grave meditation, where we dig our graves and we put ourselves into the graves and we bury ourselves till the throat center, and then we contemplate. So these are advanced yogic techniques and tools to dissolve the ahamkara, which may be, like, what are we doing? Person who is hearing this for the first time. But if you are a serious seeker, this is what you long for. So coming back to your question, because I travel a lot, the routine keeps changing. But for the last few months, as I mentioned, and I think it will go on for another few months until, God willing, the lockdown is gone. So then my routine will change. But ordinarily, what I do is I get up in the morning, I take a shower, and after that, I spend about an hour or so meditating. And meditation contains postures, kriyas, and breath exercises, and then sitting in silence. Okay, once in the morning and once in the evening. So these are two good times when the universe gives birth to a container, in the morning and in the evening. In the morning, when it's neither day and it's neither night. So it's neither night, it's neither day. In between, it's a vortex center, it's a twilight zone, which lasts, about 30 minutes before the sunrise and 30 minutes after the sunrise, around that period. And the same thing for the evening. So during the sunset and sunrise, there's this exact location, there's this twilight zone that opens up in the ethers. And if you can sit in that space in silence, something in you will start to bloom, or you will start to experience your wholeness beyond your ordinary story. So that is an opportunity to transcend your story. So self-realization or awakening is you transcending your story. That's it. And these transcending of the story happens many times throughout the day. And this is called Satori in the Zen tradition, the glimpse. The problem is we are always not present. So this wisdom, these teachings tells us at least 2 times a day, sit and be present. And you can come face to face with Satori. Either you are stuck in your story or either you experience Satori. Okay, you have a choice. And that comes through sadhana, a practice. Okay, and a sadhana also means saha and dhana. Saha means breath and dhana means treasure. So sadhana means to sit and find the treasure in your breath. And what is the treasure in your breath? That space where neither you are inhaling, neither you are exhaling. That twilight zone, that point, every individual on the planet is experiencing that point. There's no individual who is not experiencing everything. So all of us, we are touching the same point. Rumi in one of his poetry says, we shall meet where the road ends. So where the road ends, 10 fingers away from you. Your road ends 10 fingers away from you. Everybody on the planet, the road ends 10 fingers away from them. So everyone on the planet, however separated we are, however different we are, all of us, we are meeting at one point. So that is the unity of being, and that is the sadhana, that is the treasure in the breath. So that is called sadhana. So 2 times a day, you sit and you find your treasure. And that is as far as the sadhana is concerned. At times on special days, long meditations, special meditations are done in alignment with the stars, in alignment with a certain movement in the heavenly bodies. That's another opportunity to synchronize yourself. So every opportunity where you can drop your story and synchronize with whatever is happening around you, that is also called sadhana. So special days, longer sadhana is there. As far as the diet is concerned, I'm a vegetarian and I'm trying to be a vegan, which sometimes becomes very difficult because of my travels.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian. I haven't quite been able to become a vegan.
Yeah. So that is the journey that I'm on. So everybody, we are learning and everybody is evolving. Nobody have reached a permanent location anywhere, and anyone who keep evolving, it means that person is alive. When you stop evolving, then you are dead. So this is my diet and this is my daily routine. Other than that, I spend a lot of time reading books and seeing beautiful, documentaries and doing my research.
I strongly recommend to people listening who want to know more, who want to get a deep understanding.
So books by Ramana Maharishi, and by Nisarga Datta. So these are 2 beautiful recent sages that have very well downloaded the wisdom of unity. So these any book by these 2 sages is worth reading and starting your journey with. And also there's another book, it's by Harish Johari. It is Chakras. So those of you who are interested in the body, in the Tantra, again, let me repeat, Tantra doesn't mean, the sexual activities and all that. Tantra in its essence or in its actual meaning means anything got to do with the wisdom of the body. Yeah. So that's a good book to understand the anatomy of your subtle body. So that's another good book that you can read. So that's what I can suggest. That's what comes to me in the moment.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you very much. And another question I wanted to allude to was the question of non-duality and pairs of opposites, and how this relates to creating the illusion, and what practices. Again, I mean, you may have already answered this to some extent, but practices of seeing things as non-dual, and and not being absorbed by one side, or differences and things like that. Could you just give us a bit more information on that?
Beautiful. So one of the very beautiful, meditation that you can do, or practice that you can do, that's a better term, is to start seeing the formless within the form. I'll just expand into this, and I'll give in a very practical way. Yeah. And this, seeing the formless within the form, although the formless that you will be seeing is not really formless, but as far as our five senses are concerned, it is more or less formless, right? Yeah. So what I mean by that, for example, I'm seeing this wall, right? Instead of seeing the wall, I see the space between the wall and my seeing. Okay, so the seer, the process of seeing, and that which is sin. So every perception is divided into these three. So we divide it into three. Okay, the seer, the process of seeing, and that which is sin. Because we see, okay, the seer is there, and we forget the process of seeing, which contains the knowing. Knowingness, which again coming back to chitta. Okay, chitta means the knowingness. Okay, we get lost in that which is sin, and that is object. So you have the subject, and the process through the subject creates the object. Then we divide ourselves into subject and object. Duality is born. So instead of being in the subject, although that is the ultimate aim, but to start with, sometimes it's difficult, and getting lost in the object, you stay in between. So this is the twilight zone. This is the formless within the form, as far as the five senses are concerned. So whatever you are seeing in the house, for example, and you don't need to close eyes for this. So you're seeing your sofa set. So instead of allowing the seer through the process of seeing and falling onto that which is sin and giving it a reality, you stay in between. So collapse the mind in the center of two. So this is form, that which is sin is form, in between is formless. In the teachings of the Buddha, he gave these teachings to Sariputra, one of his close devotees. And this is contained in the Heart Sutra, those of you who know. He says, Iha Sariputraha Sarva Dharmaha Shunyataha Lakshanaha. So that is the essence of the entire Heart Sutra. He says, listen to this, Sariputra, that the heart of all form is formless, and you are experiencing that in the now. You cannot experience a form if the formless is not there. Just that now you are lost in the formless, and your perception, or you have conditioned yourself to only see the form. So this is a meditation, a practice to see the formless within form. So even when you're seeing the moon, instead of see, because the moment the seer, through the process of seeing, which contains knowing, falls onto an object, the world of form and name is born, called the Nama and Rupa, right? So you give birth to the world. So instead of you giving birth, you stay in between and just collapse the mind in that. Collapse the mind in that. So you are neither here, you are neither there. You are just in between the both. And what we are most of the time, if you look around, wherever you're looking, before any object comes into your perception, you are here all the time. So these whatever you're seeing, this is awareness. This is you as an extended self.
Yeah.
So then you come out of the limitations of the body. Ordinarily, we lock ourselves, we condition ourselves within the frame of mind and body. We see ourselves as mind and body. Now, this meditation, this practice will give you an opportunity to see yourself as the knowingness which is contained, even when you are knowing the body, even when you are knowing your mind.
Yeah.
So the mind and body are also experienced because of the knowingness in you, because of the chitta in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the best practice, my friend, and I can go on glorifying this beautiful practice. It will totally change. And simple as that, let me repeat just for the sake of, I enjoy repeating things, especially very important things. Experience yourself in between. Just here. I'm seeing this laptop instead of me, allowing my awareness to drop on the laptop and give it a construction, give it name and form, where I bought it from, and how much was it, and I'm going to have a conversation with someone. So my world, my creation starts. I remain here and just here, and the mind collapses, and the eyes become still, and formless is experienced while in the form.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for that. I've not come across that before, and I'll definitely seek to do that now. In my own practice,
And let me share this. This meditation was given by Shiva according to the tantric teachings. So you can see the overlap, and it was given by Shiva to his beloved wife Shakti on their honeymoon night. So it's a very precious meditation. It's a very precious meditation. Yes, just to add on.
No, it sounds incredible. I mean, having never had a teacher myself, I've had to interpret these things, and one of my methods, I've always sort of waited for opposite thoughts to emerge in my mind, and to just sort of allow a light to dissolve them. That's kind of my to have both. If I have one extreme thought come up, I'll try and balance it with the complete opposite, and then have some sort of light dissolve. That's something. But now you've told that to me, I'll definitely practice that and apply that to my meditations.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And another issue I wanted to ask you about, because it's very relevant at the moment, is in terms of the world and world cycles and Kali Yuga, and things like that. And there's obviously other spiritual practices have different terms for it. Is that something that you would think we were at the end stage of now, the end of one cycle and the birth of a new? How would your beliefs tie into this as to what's happening in the world at the moment?
Yeah, so while in the dream, there are many things, which will make sense only when you view your existence as far as, the awakened state or the dream state is concerned.
Yeah.
So yes, in our reality of time and space, which we have collectively given birth, it is defined by cycles. So you have the four major cycles, right? The four ages, and then when they come 1,000 times, it is one day at a higher dimension, which is the dimension of Brahma, and then Brahma lives for 100 years, and it goes on like that. So now Brahma is 50 years old. So our four yugas, okay, the four ages, right? The golden, the silver, the bronze, and the dark or the iron age, when they come 1,000 times, okay, it is 1 day at the dimension of Brahma. And Brahma lives for 100 years. So now Brahma is 50 years old. So imagine how many cycles have come and how many cycles have gone. So within these four ages, we are now in the Iron Age or the Dark Age, it is called. And within the Dark Age, there's a 12-year cycle. Okay. And we just completed the Piscean Age, and we, according to some teachings, 11, 11, 11. And today, interestingly, it's also 11, 11.
Yeah.
In the year 2011, 11, 11, we shifted to the Aquarian age, and it will take 12 years, before Aquarian age will take its first spin. And when this spin is coming, a lot of confusion and a lot of destruction, and people will be lost, and then those who hold on to themselves, those who know themselves, instead of, because most of us, we identify with what is being told to us.
Yeah.
So those who identify their self with what is being projected upon them, they will be dissolved, they will be illusioned, and they will experience what we want to call human suffering. But those who hold on to themselves, which is the highest anchoring, and this self is experienced at the level of the breath, at the level of the heartbeat, so at the level of what we have just shared. So these practices which connects you to you, and this is very important. uh, every practice must connect you with yourself, not with something outside. If it's connecting you with something outside, down the road, there will be suffering, there will be illusion. So if you can hold on to yourself and not live the life the way, is being projected on you, you will very smoothly scale through these difficult times, and you will be one of few individuals who will experience the coming of the Aquarian age, or the full blooming of the Aquarian age, where the focus will be on earth, where the focus will be here. Because in the previous age, the focus was there.
Yeah.
Like everything was pointed towards the skies. So now is the time to focus towards the Mother Earth, who we are as far as our expanded self is concerned. So in the here and in the now, those who have this wisdom, they will easily find their way through this confusion. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that was a great answer. Thank you. And I think it tied in very well with everything that we were talking about earlier. My next question is relating to something that obviously a lot of people on my channel are interested in, and I've had a brief interest in. It's in terms of plant medicines that people use across the world. They have been used in some spiritual practices, whether it be sort of peyote or mushrooms. How, from your perspective, where do you think these fit into spiritual practices? And
yes, so usually, people who are experimenting, on life, usually I advise them, please experiment. And there's a limitation again, everything, as I mentioned, comes from an external, it comes with a limitation. So once a while, just to experience, just to give yourself a boost, some people need this kick. It is okay to dwell in this, but ultimately it is your breath, it is your heartbeat, and it is your tongue, which is the sacred sound. So you have to take the shelter what is inside ultimately. Now, this is a beautiful thing people want to do, experience it once a while. It is perfectly fine. But don't indulge yourself into these. Then your joy is dependent on something outside. So I usually advise people, it's always good to once or twice in your life experience it and see what it is like. Going beyond your ordinary perceptions, going around your ordinary nature and really experiencing you in a deeper level. But once you've experienced that, then try to take the shelter of, because even this plant, they give you an experience what was inside. So why don't you take the shelter of that which is inside to go inside?
Yeah.
So ultimately, you have to take the shelter of your breath, the shelter of your heartbeat, and the shelter of your tongue, which is the sacred sound. And once you're able to take the shelter of these three, you know how to breathe and you know how to consciously communicate through the sacredness of your sound. And when you can merge with your heartbeat, which is the space where you fall in love, right? And the Sufis, they call these dwelling in the garden of love, which is the heart center. Now, another practice, listening to your heartbeat itself can give you an ecstasy, right? And then as you listen to the heartbeat, become aware of the space between two heartbeats. That is when you are touching again nirsankalp samadhi, because the heartbeat is existing because something in between two heartbeats is formless. So yad rupam sa shunyata ya shunyata tad rupam. In the Heart Sutra, Buddha says, within every form is formless and within every formless is form. So within the two heartbeat, which is form, in the center, it's formless. And again, coming back to the breath, which is the form right in the center where nothing is there, again is formless. Even between the two eye blinks, there's a space when you are neither inside, neither outside. Eyes open, you are outside, eyes close, you are inside. When you're blinking, right in the center, when the eyes are halfway, you are neither inside, you are neither outside. You are neither in the realm of the awakened state, you are neither in the realm of the dream state. You are experiencing the dream, the deep sleep, the shushupti, it is called in Sanskrit. So every action of yours is bringing you back home. Every movement of yours, all roads lead to Rome. So every action, every blink, every movement of your hand, every heartbeat, every walk, every talk, every breath, every sight is bringing you home. Just become aware. So this is the path of awareness, the path of dhyana, the path of awakening, which is really inside you. Just need to be aware. I'm reminded of a story. It's a story of this great Zen master, Suzuki, those of you who may have heard about it. So in one of his lectures, he was giving a talk on awakening and enlightenment and all that. And somebody asked him that you have never talked about your enlightenment. You should talk about your enlightenment. And he smiled. And as he smiled, his wife was sitting in the same crowd. And she got up and she said, he do not talk about his enlightenment because it never happened. So enlightenment is not that happens. Enlightenment is your true nature and you are trying to be unenlightened all the time.
Yeah.
So it never happens.
Yeah.
Everything in you is bringing you back to the light.
Yeah. I
The
guess it's
moment
like. Sorry. Yeah. Carry on. Yeah.
The moment you experience the lightness of your being, the lightness of the body. Now, the more the weight you feel in your body, psychological weight, the weight of your thoughts, the more you are bound by karma. And if once a while you are experiencing the lightness of thoughts, the lightness of psychological being, most of us, we have so many thoughts, we are heavy all the time, psychologically. So the moment you let go of these, become light, you experience the light. And that is called enlightenment. And that is meant to be.
Yeah.
But you are making every effort to come out of this enlightenment. Okay, so I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I mean that it makes complete sense that because when reading Sanskrit texts and things, it does always refer to things that they are superimposed upon Brahman. And also, I love that imagery when they talk about the clouds that block out the light, the sun. I think that's kind of what you're saying there, isn't it? It's the thoughts and, you know, all those other things. And
my story is covering the satori, the cloud of my superficial self, which is my moment to moment thoughts. So all this is happening in the moment. My thoughts are the clouds which are coming and going, and due to which I cannot see the vast empty sky. And it's happening now. And if I can just stop my thoughts in the beginning, there's some effort needed, which is sadhana, which is, you know, you have to put an effort, but then it becomes spontaneous. Once you can experience satoris between your two stories, you have got the key. And even if this can be experienced at the blink of the eye, my friends, go into gratitude for that. And we are experiencing satori, the glimpse of awakening, every day, uncountable times. Just become aware. You know, when you are drinking water, for example, you're very thirsty, and then for a few seconds you feel this satisfaction. That is your true nature revealing itself. You're satisfied, and that is the nature of yours. You are always satisfied.
Yeah.
You meet your loved one. For a moment, you forget all your miseries and all that complaints you had. That a few seconds, you completely experience ananda, just that you're not aware. So becoming aware, and the coming of awareness starts with the breath, starts with the sacred sound, and starts with the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, that sounded amazing. Thank you. It makes a lot of sense. There's one final question which often comes up, really, that I want to point out, and it's often people from different spiritual practices or other belief systems can often misperceive the idea when we talk about, you know, each other as being God, or seeing the Brahman in each other. Some people can often see it as being some sort of egotistical thought or narcissistic statement of I am God. For me, that's a misperception, because you're still in awe of, Brahman and each other, and having that knowledge. How would you answer that to somebody that believes that?
Yeah, I think the reason for that is because people don't have right understanding of what God is. Because they don't have a right understanding of what God is, they misunderstand what Advaita Vedanta is.
Yeah.
So God, as I mentioned in the beginning, God, generating power, organizing power, and the destroying power. So this very moment, right? Something is being generated on our all layers. Physical, mental, energetic, psychological, whatever layer they exist. Something is generating, and something is being organized, and something is being destroyed. So this very experience is God. And also they say there is only one God, right? So if I also exist, you also a separate entity, then that very concept of one God is challenged. Because there is only one God, then I should not be there. You should not be there.
Yeah.
Okay. So because you are there, I am there, and all there is, and because there is only one God, then these all have to be part of that holistic God. But when we have this idea God is a personality, then this becomes a problem.
Yeah.
But if God is the ever-changing freshness, newness, experience that is blooming. So this very experience, one of the definitions of of God in the Vedic tradition is it is ever new and ever fresh. So every moment we are experiencing, every perception we are perceiving is ever new and ever fresh. When we impose our story onto it, then we experience that freshness of the experience in relation to the past, or we experience that freshness and the newness in experience to something which we may have projected in the future. But if we were to just silence our projection and experience this moment as it is, every moment God is taking birth in his freshness. And this is another expression we call Vah He Guru, which means in the here and now. Va means wow, He means now, Guru means wisdom. The wisdom of wow in the now. This is what God is.
Yeah.
So we have to change our idea of what God is, not as a personality, not something which you will reach one day. In the words of my master, he used to say, don't believe in God, be godly. So those who experience godliness, they know what God is. But those who believe in God, they keep believing, because believe means something that you are not sure that, but you are believing.
Yeah.
So that oneness, that unity, which exists between all of us, this is what God is. So instead of trying to make sense of what Vedanta is, I will humbly suggest that go and do some research on what God is. And then that's what will totally change your idea. It's not something you reach.
No.
It is something which you are living in the now.
Yeah.
That's what God is.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
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 Thank you.
No. So much for this. I really appreciate it. And if anyone is interested in your retreats, and how would they go about?
Yeah. So the best way to stay in touch will be visiting, the website and signing up for the newsletter. And the website is yogiamandeepsingh.com, yogiamandeepsingh.com. Also, I'm on Instagram and all the other stuff. So you will find me there. Just search for Yogi Amandeep. And we are doing a retreat in Canada this coming New Year. So if you are from Canada, something that the information will be out soon. And other than that, next year, towards the end, we will be going to India to meditate in the Himalayas, something that calls you. Join us. Other than that, I'm usually traveling all over the world, from Russia to Germany. I'll be in Germany in March, and if everything goes well. But I think the best way to stay in touch will be the website and sign up for the newsletter, and that's way you will be updated on where I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we also have a channel. It's called Making of a Yogi YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So a lot of videos are there, and that will be helpful.
That's great. Great. Thank you very much. And hopefully I would love to get to one of your retreats.
Yes.
So maybe I'll try and get to India next year, providing all's well. So
Yes. Yeah, I'll be in UK most likely mid next year. So we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, thank you again, and hopefully we can. I'd love to speak to you again if you're still free at some point.
Yes, we can do every once a while, maybe once a month or whatever. You come out with the questions and we sit, and we allow the godliness in us to communicate and give birth to God.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's been very, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.